Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan King. I'm the project manager for Team 4 Mapping Routes. The team members are Wes Harp, Wesley Porter, Daniel Watkins, and our program manager is Katie Harris. What we have here is the update dashboard. We have the scope here, which is the shortened version. The full version we'll see on our project charter a little bit later. And some of the tasks that we've completed are that we got our scope approved by the sponsor. We talked with Anthony Filipino, and he was more than willing to give us great insight and improve upon our project and show us some routes that he wanted to include in that. The scope was also approved by our program manager and our professor, Dr. McKenzie. And we met with the president of UCA, Dr. Davis. Dr. Houston Davis was amazing and directed us towards Dr. Teague, the athletic director, who is working on some of the physical aspects of our project, and we're going to speak with him March 2nd. We scheduled weekly program manager updates, so every week we know exactly when we're going to be meeting with our program manager, Katie Harris. Those will be on Thursdays. Some of the upcoming tasks for this week are that Daniel Watkins is working on meeting with the police department, trying to get some of the parts of the project where the roads or anything that's unsafe may come into play. And I plan on meeting with Dr. Teague March the 2nd, trying to figure out how he can help us, what input he has, and how he wants things to go. He'll be a stakeholder included in this project. Wes has been talking with Mr. Lawrence, trying to figure out exactly how the facilities are going to play a part into this. And we're looking to finalize conversations with all of the stakeholders coming up soon. We're working on finalizing the charter. We don't have signatures, but our scope has been approved. We worked on our approach, and like I said, we'll get into that charter in just a little bit. We're going to collect signatures throughout the week, and hopefully by the end of this week, upcoming week, or the next, hopefully we'll have all of those signatures collected. We're having a little bit of trouble getting in contact with Chief Murgy, and we may end up having to speak with Dr. McKenzie about trying to get in contact with him. We also are hoping to figure out preliminary routes by March the 11th. So we're wanting to get through and walk the campus, walk those routes after speaking with Dr. Teague and Anthony Filipino. We're also working on possibly having Anthony walk with us so he can have his input throughout that walk as we make those routes. The milestones, we have completed a few of these milestones. The team project documents, we're still working on that, and there's some risk involved with that. But everything so far, the milestones that we have been made aware of, are going very well. A place that we need help is we may have to have help getting in contact with people from the nature reserve, and also figuring out where we can and can't go and how we need to deal with that legally, as it is a state nature reserve. Moving on to the project charter, we've been working really hard on getting this completed. The last thing we do need is signatures. We've updated the scope, and we've added things like ending and starting at the hyper and having more than one path so that it goes through the Dave Ward Bridge and Bear Village and the Nature Reserve and a few other places. This may be changed a little bit due to the conversation with Dr. Teague, but in general, this is accurate, and this is how we plan to go along in this project. Signatures, still working on those, but we are getting there. We've got some milestones ready, and we're hoping to complete all of those on time before the project is due, and hopefully those are to the liking of our stakeholders, sponsor, and champion. Some of the risks that we have seen that are high level: potential lack of communication. We have had trouble getting a hold of Dr. Murgy, and sometimes team communication has fallen short, but we try to mitigate that as much as possible amongst the team using GroupMe, text messages, calls, and Zoom meetings. Dr. Murgy will probably have to get in contact with Dr. McKenzie to see if we can get a meeting with him, or maybe who we can find that can get with him quickly. And also the digital implementation aspect of this project. We're working on putting this in a software called All Trails. The risk associated with that is that maybe this won't work out the way we're hoping, because we haven't actually used it before. So That is a high level risk that could cause issues in getting the map, the distance, and things like that. It would be the easiest way if we can get all trails to work properly, but if we can't, there may be some stoppage there. We assume that the project will be completed on time. We don't see any big breaks here except for that digital implementation risk. Due to COVID and everything like that, it's just hard to get our team together, but we try to mitigate that as much as possible. We're all very involved with this project and we're happy to work with each other. So that's okay. It's a constraint, but we're working on that. Anthony mentioned that going north to south may be difficult for going across campus. So we're going to try to go east to west for the most part and make that loop where we can north to south, just because of the way the campus is laid out. And we're going to use, like I said, all trails to make the map. All right, let's move on to the weekly status report. All right, moving on to the weekly status report, we've got the scope and some of our tasks. Last week we had Team Plus and we got to speak with Dr. Teague, and we're trying to keep all of them updated on the progress. We've completed a couple of these tasks, but most of them are on track. None of them are behind, and they're looking good for the project. As I stated before, Dr. McKenzie approved the scope, so we're great there. Some of the tasks that we're going to be working on this upcoming week is getting signatures from stakeholders and getting the preliminary routes finalized while we try to get this project rolling, get into the executing phase of the project. We're finishing up planning, trying to really roll into that executing phase of the project. We are falling behind on communication with Dr. Murgy. We could fall behind schedule if that gets in the way. We're hoping that it doesn't. We're going to try to get in contact with him as soon as possible. Things that are going well is that we're able to meet when we can. We're all willing to be malleable and get together when everyone's available, and everyone is pretty willing to jump on top of that. Some things that are not going well, we had issues with the software GroupMe, the way we contact each other early on, and we don't use email because of that. We try to use the instant messaging, and when we were having issues with GroupMe, it was just causing issues, but I think we've got those all straightened out now. And we obviously need to expand our MFC, but we're working on that as well. Everything is going as planned there. Some of the communication that we've talked with Alicia Crow to get a meeting with President Davis. We've talked with Filipino on multiple occasions, and Lawrence. We're waiting on things from Chief Murgy, but we expect things to go well in the coming future. That's our update for the project. That's what we're working on this week. Thank you for watching. Have a great week.